Go. Today we will be talking about Lyme disease. While I was looking for an infectious disease, first I looked for the actual definition, which is a disorder caused by organisms such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, or in our case, a parasite. A tick is an external parasite, which means that it lives on the outside of the body of its hosts. So Lyme disease is actually called by the bacterium Borrelia burgdorferi, and it is transmitted through the bite of an infected black-legged tick. And these ticks are actually mostly found to be hanging on the tips of grass or things that they can latch onto until an organism brushes past them and they're able to cling onto that instead. So down in the bottom, you could see that a female is actually bigger than a male, and those are the sizes according to a dime. They're very small. Lyme disease is actually an ancient disease, so it's been around for a long time. It was originally founded in North America almost 60,000 years ago, and they were mostly commonly found in the forest. And the disease was around for quite some time before it was actually given the title of Lyme disease, which is what we call it now. And it was around before the arrival of humans in Connecticut in 1976. When you find a tick, there is a specific way that you should remove it safely. So first you want to use fine tipped tweezers to grasp the tick as close to the skin surface as possible, and then you want to pull upward with steady, even pressure, and make sure you don't twist or jerk because you can get part of the tick stuck inside of you still, and it'll be really hard to get the rest of it out, and it can release its bacterium inside of you if you break it off like that. After you remove the tick, you want to thoroughly clean the bite area and then your hands with rubbing alcohol or soap and water. And then dispose of the tick by putting in alcohol, placing it in a sealed bag, wrapping it tightly in tape, or flushing it down the toilet. Some of the early symptoms, which are 3 to 30 days after a bite, are things such as fever, chills, headache, fatigue, muscle aches, swollen lymph nodes, or an EM rash, which is over to the right, as you can see in the picture. And later symptoms, which are actually days to months after a tick bite, are severe headaches, neck stiffening, additional or more EM rashes, facial palsy, arthritis, irregular heartbeat, dizziness, shortness of breath, numbness, tingling, or inflammation. There's not necessarily a specific cure other than things such as oral antibiotics and such, which is the most common that doctors give patients when they have Lyme disease. However, there's other things such as more natural things such as like immune boosting supplements, essential oils, or there's more of the extremes, which is hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which is 100% oxygen at high pressure, or chelation therapy, which is removing heavy metals from the bloodstream. Here are some graphs that show some data and statistics. So down in the left is a map of the US, and all of the dots is where Lyme disease cases are shown. As you can see, they're mostly in the northeastern side of the US. And then if you go to the graph, the bar graph up a little bit and to the right, those show the ages in the cases, and these are both in 2018. So as you can see, the most common are actually around 5 to 9 and 55 to 59, it looks like, because blue means they're confirmed and the green means probable. So they're not actually for sure about the green. It's just a probability. So according to the CDC, which is Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the number of confirmed Lyme disease cases in the U.S. has actually doubled in the last 2 decades and has gone up 17% in between 2017 and 2018 alone. Lyme disease will more than likely be around for much longer, but thankfully it's not a very fatal or life-threatening disease, and it's pretty easy to treat if you can catch it ahead of time. So here are the sources used, and my absolute favorite source to use was my brother, who had a tick in his back in the summer of 2020, and it was quite the experience. He thought he was going to die, so unfortunately he's still alive. No, I'm just kidding. But that was probably the most helpful resource, was a very live and in my face experience. So thank you so much for watching.